Welcome, friends. Thank you for joining us. My name is Joel, and this is the O2 Drop. This is WAVGC podcast coming from Perth, home of the world's best made for adults podcast. Today, I'm joined by Chris.
I am here. I'm very excited to be here. 2 weeks away from our regionals.
Yes, very close. Dan.
Default.
And we're joined by a very special guest today, all the way from the States, creator of amazing songs such as... And
I thank my wicked team, 100 speed. Oh, all those trick room mons, you've been too good to me.
it's AndyLaVGC.
Howdy.
Just for the record, that Trick Room song that was stuck in my head for at least 2 weeks.
Oh, so good.
I love it.
It truly is incredible.
The one most people talk about is the Bastion on one.
The defense up, the Cardi beat up.
Yeah.
That is, it's got a good beat, and you absolutely nail it. I actually think you're like a bit of a lyrical genius, to be honest. Like, if you actually listen to the lyrics of some of these songs, I'm very impressed.
Yeah, they fit so well.
You'll be surprised. Most of them took probably like less than an hour to write. I was just kind of like putting stuff in there.
When I reached out to you to come on the podcast, your response was, "Yeah, I'm just a guy." But I would argue that you're not just a guy. Like, compared to us, you're a big deal. You have over 4,000 followers on YouTube and over 900 followers on Twitter, which puts our podcast to shame right now. So it is an absolute honor to have you on the show. And I just see you this angry Florida man yells at things. That is what your content is like to me. Just going on rants about the game and why it's not fun or why it's fun. And I'm so honored to have you on the podcast.
Well, thanks. I'm glad to be here. I mean, I don't think I have as much of a following as a lot of other people. I mean, I'm just kind of like some random guy that's out there, that's always how I've seen myself. So
No, I'm a big fan of your teams. I often rip your teams and try to take them to Master Ball. My favorite one that I failed with was the Ice Cube.
Oh man, I've been trying to get that off the ground in Reg H, and it just doesn't work in Reg H.
Andy, I think you need to give up on the Alol and Golem memes. I watched your most recent video, and you're so keen to pull off the and you Mark, our panelist, is in the room as well. He'll love this because he loves Kilowatt Rule. Your galvanized explosion, Terra Electric, choice band, Golem, and all you want to do is just click that next to a Voltage or Kilowatt Rule with Tailwind. It's all you want to do. And like game one, it's like, okay, opponent, double protect. And you take it so like personally, like, oh, like, why do you have to do that? Like, I just wanted to click explosion. I was like, what would you do in that scenario? You would click protect. And then it's like game two. Okay, they lead Incineroar. Fake out and to go. I'm like, oh, I just wanted to click. And every game, and the third game's like, choice scarf, water spout, Blastoise kills Golem before it can move. I was like, oh, I can't watch this anymore. How was that recording?
I'm actually, you'll be pleased to know that I'm actually like almost at 1700 ELO with a different version of that team.
Oh,
Nice.
so we're getting another Alol and Golem video then?
I want to make a rental, but the first video did pretty bad, so we'll see what happens.
We'll get our listeners to bump it up for you.
Were you going to run? So you told me that you were going to play at a cup this weekend. You didn't, but were you going to bring that team? What was the team going to be for the cup? You can leak the tech.
I was either going to bring that team or the team that I'm working on for the Toronto regional.
Ooh.
Okay, you don't have to tell us that one.
Yeah, that's a pretty funky. Well, I mean, long story short, it's basically like Misty Surge, Galarian Weezing. I won't go into like the whole team because that's a lot to describe, but it's like hard Trick Room with Weezing.
Oh, yeah, we're Weezing enthusiasts.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
it'd be such a Chad move to rock up to a local cup just with Explosion, Choice Band.
It was spicy. It was Choice Band Golem. It had it was Disquake. So it had Garchomp with Earthquake and Kilowatt Rule with Discharge. It had Telepathy Gardevoir, so it couldn't be hit by the spread moves as well. It was spicy.
December's GC solved.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the last League Cup I went to, I brought Rampardos.
No kidding.
I
Damn.
brought Tailwind Rampardos. I got like third place.
Jesus. Chad moves. Honestly, that's incredible.
And I had to play against Patrick Connors and Brady Smith.
That was honestly so. Like, obviously, Patrick Connors, fellow Florida man, won NAIC this year. Like, are you guys like friends? Or do you know the other Florida players pretty well? Are they in your area?
Well, you know, until recently, there actually weren't any locals in like Orlando.
Oh,
They were
jeez.
all like kind of far from me, so I wasn't able to go to any of them. So I actually only met them like pretty recently when I started going to the cup that opened, you know, like up the road from me.
Okay, but so you say that you're on friendly terms with them?
Arch nemesis, I reckon.
Arch nemesis.
Yeah, I would say so. Patrick Connors follows me on Twitter.
Oh,
Nice.
flex.
I think Brady Smith follows me on Twitter too, but
Well, I want to speaking of NAIC this year, so you actually got 136th place. Is that correct?
at NAIC you said?
Yeah.
That sounds like that's the right number. I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
In regard to taking the game so seriously, Andy, thank
Good
you.
enough for like 40 championship points? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would have been like 800 plus people there. That's
Yeah, huge event.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty good for just a guy with his, Tailwind Rampardos. But I looked at, and you also did 61st place at San Antonio Regs in 2023. And I noticed something quite glaring. Both your teams at NAIC and San Antonio were Urshifu Rapid Strike and Reggie Drago. Is this like your go-to competitive strat? Just speedy Draco. What's Reggie Drago's
Dragon Energy.
Dragon Energy? That's the one.
So I'm a big fan of like the one turn like wombo combo, right? My favorite strat in Sword and Shield was Colossal. I love Colossal.
Yes.
I'm constantly trying to get like a Colossal team off the ground in Scarlet and Violet, and it's very difficult because it really just doesn't hit that hard.
It needs Dynamax weakness policy.
But basically, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't hit as hard as it could. Like the like Terrafire plus 2 Heat Wave doesn't do as much energy. It doesn't do as much damage as like Dragon Energy, for example, depending on what the mon is. So I was both of those times. I basically looked at the meta and I went, well, nobody's playing anything for Reggie Drago, so I brought Reggie Drago. And that was kind of what happened both times. I actually locked in Reggie Drago for NAIC like the first month of that format. And like I think like a couple weeks right before NAIC, other people started like topping with Reggie Drago, and I was like, oh no, the cat's out of the bag.
You also brought Zacian too.
Yeah.
You're like the only guy that probably brought it, but what was the Zacian? What was the pick? What was the theory behind picking Zacian as your restricted?
It's the restricted that pairs the best with Reggie Drago, I think.
Yep.
They complement each other really well.
So it's just a Reggie Drago team and Zacian's just there for moral support, really.
Yeah. Reggie Drago's the restricted.
I mean, kind of, yeah. If you're not leading Zacian, you can actually get away with it because you don't have to worry about like Intimidate on lead. If Reggie Drago KOs the Incineroar, then Zacian just kind of gets to do whatever it wants.
True.
Hacks.
Well, Joel's probably going to kill me because we've usually skipped ahead. Usually when we have a guest on, we start off with the puff piece questions like, how did you get into Pokemon?
It is okay.
What's your favorite Pokemon?
Yeah.
Let us revert back just a
Yeah.
smidge, and we will ask that question, Andy, and that is, how did you get introduced to Pokemon?
I mean, I was probably like 6 or something, but it was probably the Pokemon anime because I didn't get my first Pokemon game until like Pokemon Emerald came out. And I don't know, for whatever reason, my parents wouldn't buy Pokemon for me. So my grandmother bought me Pokemon Emerald at Sam's Club.
Nice.
So that was my first Pokemon game. But it was probably the Pokemon anime that I saw first.
Yeah, I think that's common for a lot of 90s kids to have been that anime first. I know that was my beginning, but what was your introduction to competitive Pokemon?
Well, I think like most people, it was singles. I don't remember exactly how I got into it. I think it was probably like a YouTube channel that's like long defunct. They haven't posted anything in years. But I'm trying to remember what the name of the channel is. I want to say it's like the National Dex or something like that. They haven't posted in a long time, but I think that I probably like watched one of their videos and I was like, this looks fun, and I started playing like singles. And then I learned that the official format was VGC, so I started playing that.
Nice. And favorite Pokemon, both just in general, and then your favorite competitive Pokemon to use.
And why is it Poliwhirl?
Yeah, well, I think at this point it is Poliwhirl. It hasn't always been Poliwhirl. The Poliwhirl thing started as like a meme, right? Like I made that. I was looking at Sword and Shield, and I was like, I bet you could run any old Swift Swim Pokemon next to Kyogre, and it would be good. So it was supposed to be like a joke. It was like, even Poliwhirl is good if you run it next to Kyogre.
What was it? Just for the record?
Oh, it was great. That team actually, that was kind of like my first like big team, like my big rental that everybody was using. James Beck used that rental, and just like every time I saw somebody use it, not only did they win all of their games, but they had to play a mirror, and I just thought that was so cool. So I made Poliwhirl the mascot. And now, my favorite Pokemon's Poliwhirl, but before that, I couldn't tell you what it was.
I was sort of know, because we've got a bit of a running joke with James Beck, because one of our panelists on the show, Ethan, put out a team, and that James Beck did a video on that and didn't credit him. So we've always had this like grudge against James Beck. Did he credit you for your Poliwhirl team when he did use your rental code?
Here's what I believe happened. I think somebody just like randomly sent him a picture of the rental, right, and didn't tell him where it came from. So he didn't credit me in the actual episode, but I like commented, and he was like, "Oh," and he like pinned the comment, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know this was your team."
Interesting.
Which was a lot of. I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm sure that like just somebody sent him that team, and he used it. He didn't know where it came from.
Look, so, it is just Perth law. Yeah. That we don't like James Beck, because Ethan actually tried reaching out to James and didn't get a response about that team.
Like
so
multiple platforms as well. It was Reddit, it was YouTube. It was
so it's good that he at least acknowledged your team that he used on his channel.
You gotta mobilize your fan base is what you gotta do. Yeah. I like commented, and I sent the video to all my subscribers, and I was like, hey, comment on this. Tell him this is my team.
Otherwise, Andy's gonna like, write a rap song, a diss track about James Beck.
The James Beck diss track.
Hell yeah.
I actually would love to hear that if you do have one.
Can we commission that?
Can we get on it for backtrack?
I'm not trying to start beef with James Beck. I mean, in a lot of ways, I owe a lot of my channel to James Beck. So
no, we are. Just the Ojo drop is trying to start beef.
So Poliwhirl is your favorite Pokemon. What about competitively?
Oh man, that's such a hard question to answer. It really just depends on like whatever I'm playing at this point in time. Like, I think Alolan Golem has reignited my love for Reg H a little bit. It's been so much fun to use.
It's when you're, and also, yeah, if you, to all our listeners, please do go and watch Andy attempt to pull off a Terra Electric Choice Band galvanized explosion on his YouTube channel, which is AndyLaVGC, by the way. But like when you're like, don't you have like a Pokemon though, like when you're building a team, like in your regulation drops, and you're thinking about like what to base your team around, is there always one that you kind of start with that you're like, oh, okay, like let's, like for example, like my answer was Tyranitar when I got this question. Like, is there something like that, like a glue Pokemon that you always kind of try and make work each time you have a new regulation?
I mean, you know, I think if you're asking the question that way, then the answer is Colossal.
Nice.
Yeah. All right.
Sick
I
answer.
respect that. Because
If we had Arctivish in the game right now, it would probably be Arctivish.
Yeah.
Nice.
I respect the Arctivish. Do you think that we were robbed of a locomotive Pokemon for the final design for Colossal?
Maybe, but I like that Colossal's like an oven, or at least G-Max Colossal is an oven.
Big old oven.
Yeah, it's fair.
I named mine Easy Bake, so
Amazing.
Okay, that's
with the little trademark sign and everything.
Oh, nice. All right, I do have a quick one for you because I myself am not a team builder. I struggle with composition so badly. And then I see you come up with some whack strategies and love it where they pull off. What is your team building like approach when you're looking at these things? Are you like looking at a Pokemon and thinking, I want to make this work and that's how I build around it? Or are you more just like thinking what's going to catch people by surprise? What can I pull off that isn't seen? Like what is the team building strategy for quote unquote jank?
That's a great question. My goal is almost never to like catch people off guard. Like obviously that you expect to catch people off guard because sometimes you need to with jank Pokemon. But my goal is very rarely to do something that's going to catch people off guard, if that makes sense. A lot of the time I'll start with like a specific like move or like end game strategy that I want to get to, and I'll look at the Pokemon that can do that, and usually end up with a very small list of Pokemon that can get there. Like for example, with the Misty Surge Galarian Weezing strategy, I said to myself, I want a Pokemon that has swagger and can set up Trick Room, and my options were basically Hypno and Slowking.
Jeez.
So we put a Slowking on the team.
Yeah.
It did day 2 worlds.
And a lot of the time that's how you get there. I mean, like you know, with Rampardos, I was just like, well, Rampardos can click the strongest Rock Slide in the game, so how can we make Rampardos work? But a lot of the time, I'm looking for a specific end game, and I end up with weird Pokemon because of that.
Nice.
I kind of like the haha. This might
So
be
it's
funny.
it's almost better to like. Yeah, sometimes it is. This might be funny. Let's try this, but a lot of the time, it's better to like think about what end game you want and figure out which Pokemon are going to achieve that end game.
It's too big brain for me. I just click buttons. This is why I steal teams and don't build teams.
I think another thing that I'm like a champion of is like, if this is your first draft of a team, just like throw EVs in there. Don't sit there and like calc a bunch of stuff. Like you're gonna waste your time if it's bad. Just like Wiggly Bar the EVs, and if it's like good and it works kinda, then you can like go back and like make it better.
Can you explain Wiggly Bar?
Yeah, you just kind of pick numbers that look good.
Nice.
Like maybe you'll think I want to outspeed this, but like for the defense and the special defense and like the hit points and stuff, just kind of like EV to where you get like the bump in the stat, or like, you know, just throw like 100 and 156 into stats, if that makes sense.
Have something end on a 69. Perfect.
Well, it'd be good if you were life hold recoil. 69 would be a perfect number. Okay, I like Wiggly Bar. I might start using that term.
Yeah, just hit bumps, hit good numbers.
I mean, sometimes I just start with Picalytics usage and go, yeah, that looks good.
Hit bumps.
Well, when you're
phrasing, please.
when you're using weird Pokemon, sometimes Picalytics isn't all that helpful.
Yeah,
I bet
true.
some of those Picalytic spreads are heavily influenced by stuff that I've made.
Love it.
What is everyone else running? Wait, that's my spreads.
So you made a video a week ago, and it says, I think I miss Xerneas. And I thought, oh no, Andy, this one's gone too far, even for you. But you did actually make some compelling points. You did actually, for context, you listed 10 Pokemon that you missed from from Gen 9, the Gen 9 games that have been dexited. Do you want to reiterate what the Pokemon you missed the most? Spoil your own video?
Well, I mean, it's obviously Arctivish. Like,
that would be, but do you think, I mean, surely, I mean, I don't know how much Game Freak actually think about these things, but they probably thought, Terra Water, Fishious Rend in Rain. They probably thought Xerneas, like with the Fairy Aura, Terra Fairy. Yeah, but then there's other things they excluded, like I don't know, like the Pansear, Pansage, whatever the elemental monkeys are.
Yeah, and they also excluded like half the frames.
Does anybody miss that? Did anybody like those Pokemon? Like,
No.
legitimately?
Yeah, those are shit. They were good to be get rid of.
Even Wolf Glick bitched about them in a recent video. Like 10, like I don't know. He's
That.
yeah. So yeah, no one likes the monkeys, but I mean, someone at Game Freak. You seem like you obviously know about the Terra League. I saw you did a video about that too, about how that was could be bad for the game, having all that leaked stuff. But stuff that didn't make it, that got left on the cutting room floor, and the stuff we got.
Yeah, the variants of the monkeys actually look so much better than what we got.
Or even just like the original Flamingo Pokemon we were going to get in Gen 6 compared to like Flamigo that we have now. It's like, what happened?
Hey. Don't hate on Flamigo. That's my friend.
I know you like Flamigo because you said on the video that you wanted to do Geomancy Xerneas with Flamigo in the back.
Jeez, that's cooking.
Cooking? All right. But you know, I do about how your mind works sometimes.
I've been thinking about Geomancy Xerneas with Flamigo since I learned what Flamigo was. Like, to be honest with you.
But how broken
that
would a
and
Terra
Coil
Fairy
Zygarde,
Xerneas
but,
be?
you know.
It'll have to happen eventually. Like eventually, there will be a game where you can live your wildest dreams with this combo.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, just imagine it. You click the Geomancy, you get Flamigo in, and then you click Moonblast, and then you click Copycat Moonblast.
Jeez.
Wow.
Good night.
Okay, yeah, I really don't want to come up against you in a GC.
My GC record's actually pretty bad. For whatever reason, I never plan out a team, and I just end up bringing Surf Dozo, and everybody's ready for Surf Dozo.
That's what I did. And then I versed Wolf Glick with Wheezing. He ruined my strat.
The only time I've had success in a GC was the slow Farigiraf ability swap with Torkoal, so that you could turn off the rain instantly and just keep clicking Eruption. So it's like a power lens for Farigiraf with a non-zero speed Torkoal.
I hate GCs.
It's really funny that I can't get a good foothold in a GC because I qualified for Players Cup 3, and the qualifier for Players Cup 3 was basically a GC.
I
don't know.
Too much pressure.
I got inspired by your Trick Room song. I brought Hard Trick Room to 2 GCs. Both did abysmal. I don't even want to talk about them.
He's blaming you for that.
I am blaming you. It's your fault, Andy. And then I brought a Dondozo. I am a filthy Dondozo player, Tatsugiri Dondozo player. I will admit that. Not recently, but I was in like Reg F or whenever it was.
Yeah, Reg F.
Reg F, yeah. And I thought, oh yeah, no one will have Haze on a GC team. Like I'll be able to. No, that was a mistake as well. I tried an Orthworm team with like the Shed Tail into setup mons like Volcarona and Dragonite. Thought I was really, really clever there, but it's the Japanese players that ruin us. I get a lot of them coming up and they play like best of one, like closed team sheet is their bread and butter.
Yeah.
And
plus the same time zone as us, so like when we're playing, they're playing.
Yeah, it's not a good time.
Well, I think this most recent one excluded people in
It did, yeah.
in non-TPCI regions, right? Yeah.
No, my excuse is I'm just bad at this game. I thought I would be cute and run Smeargle.
We're all just bad at this game.
Yeah. I tried the Smeargle eject pack Moody thing where you just use Smeargle to like guarantee Trick Room turn 1 because you've got Follow Me, Fake Out, Spore, all that stuff.
Just get intimidated.
I did learn I knew about that before going in because I had someone ruined me with that before. So I had a backup. If they had Incineroar on the team, I wouldn't bring Smeagol. I would lead Bravery, Bravery, Terra Psychic.
You can see why it didn't do well.
Expanding Force Life Orb with like Indeedee instead, like with like Tailwind.
Because that's going to beat the Incineroar.
Wait, how does that beat the Incineroar?
It has Air Slash. Look, it didn't beat the Incineroar.
What you got to do is you got to run Trick Ring Target Indeedee.
Yes. The thing is, I only learned about that on Twitter today when I saw someone do it. Like someone did like
Axolotl Man video, yeah.
The Slowpoke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that going to be in a future video of yours? That sounds like something you'd run.
I think about Ring Target a lot. I think about it more for like explosion strategies, to be honest.
Oh, true.
That's true. Yeah. The
only problem is that like Goldengo's immune to Trick, so
yeah, Goldengo is just it's like the fun police. Like it just ruins all. It always ruins the most elaborate plans.
Yeah, just go to sleep, bro. Come on.
It's nap time.
You do like to get your tinfoil hat on, all right? You are not so much a conspiracy theorist, but I wouldn't even go as far as Oracle either. But to your credit, you did predict Reg Age pretty closely. You were like, yeah, it's going to be like a banned format. They're going to have like going to make Pokemon ineligible to run and all that sort of stuff. So you got Reg Age correct. In your latest tinfoil hat video, you are talking about what Legends Z to A is going to be. And you are predicting that it is going to be a multiplayer compatible game and that it's going to be the next, like basically the next gen for VGC games is going to be on Legends Z to A. Was that kind of what you're predicting?
Yeah. Excuse me. I think the timeline just matches up a lot. That's the only reason I made that video is because I was like, this timeline, like we're coming up at the end of Scarlet and Violet, or at least we should be, right? Every other Pokemon game lasts for about as long as Scarlet and Violet will have at the end of the 2025 season. And we don't know anything that's coming out after this. I mean, they could announce, I guess they could announce Gen 10 and release it next year, but I feel like the odds of that are pretty low. So either we're going to play Scarlet and Violet for a whole another year and VGC is going to die, or Legends ZA is going to come out and it's going to have like regular competitive battles in some fashion, and we're going to be able to play on that.
Well, the biggest problem I
feel like it would be really weird. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go. Keep going.
I was going to say it would be really weird for them to give us back Mega Evolution and then not give us a way to play Mega Evolution.
That'd be very on brand for Game Freak, though. They'd be like, here's something you wanted for ages, and you can't use it.
And it's gone.
I forget what game and whether it's on Scarlet Violet or whatever. I need them to hurry up and get us a new Switch because my Switch is on its last legs. And if I have to play another year on my current Switch at Scarlet Violet with it like churning it through its battery and crashing every 5 seconds, like I'm going to get bumped from every event I go to.
Yeah, I really don't want to buy another Switch.
And I don't want to buy a brand new Switch when we're going to get Switch 2. I don't know.
At some point.
But like they've been milking it for, it feels like 2 years.
It's supposed to be announced this fiscal year. So it'll be announced by March.
Nice.
That's still too long for me, but okay.
The Legends ZA is a very interesting thought, though, that it could be competitive because that would be like, it's not what they've done thus far with the off-brand or non-mainline game having some level of competitive. But I think that could be really fresh.
I guess like what they had some sort of tournament scene for BDSP, but like, still, I guess it's kind of like always had that aspect.
Yeah.
Also the argument though, they may, because there's been like sort of pushback to the Pokemon timeline, and it's been all but confirmed that the developers have been like rushed to meet schedules and games have been like unfinished and all that sort of stuff. So they're pushing back the release cycle to improve the quality of the games. That's the general consensus, right? So it's possible that maybe Legends Z to A wasn't planned to be multiplayer compatible, but because they've had to push back Gen 10, they need to like
Yeah, because
add it to
they
their day.
know that people are not going to want to play Scarlet Violet for a fourth year. Like, what else can we do other than actual ban formats? Or,
They might boot a no terror format, but that's only like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
We talked about the mythical format, right?
Yeah. Oh god. They don't even have all the mythicals.
I mean,
in
you know,
No.
this is what I wanted since Sword and Shield. I was like, look, they should just give us a Dynamax raid event that gives you all the mythicals, and then have a mythical format that's like for real, you know? And I never did it. Instead, we got Series 13, which was literally just bring 6 restricted Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, things got very wild during the COVID formats.
What isolation does to motherfuckers.
I just didn't even touch Series 13. I was like, there's no way. I don't know what's going on.
I also didn't. I just played Cortex's team at regionals. I'm like, all right, I'm done now. Wait for the next game.
There were a few things that I really wanted to try, and I got to do them, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm good now.
Yep. Boxes ticked.
I have a question for you as well. You said before that you weren't trying to start a feud with James Beck. Fair enough. I'm just curious, though. You don't have to answer this, but no one's going to hear this anyway. Do you have any like grudges with any like big name players in the VGC scene that you want any grievances you need to air? Because I'm always.
Please just say Chris Ma.
No, don't say me. I don't need another feud, please.
Oh, I mean, not right now. There have been different points where I felt kind of like weird about certain content creators, but like right now, I feel good about everybody. I think.
Have you ever been at like NAIC or a regionals and like sat down across an opponent and be like, "Hey mate, how's it going? Like good luck, have fun. Fist bump, whatever," and they've just ignored you and like been like really horrible to you? Does that ever happen?
I don't think so. I think to some people I might be that guy. I've definitely played a lot of games where we just like sit and don't say anything at all.
I was going to say, us as Aussies compared to Andy being in America, it could be like contextually different as well, because like Australians are very much will just talk to anyone who's there. And from what I know and have experienced of America, that's like less common that everyone you see, you speak to.
We also swear more than Americans.
Yes.
Yeah, we're actually trying not to swear right now.
Well, we're
It's
trying
quite
so
difficult.
hard for you, Andy.
We're trying.
I really want to drop a C-bomb.
Oh, I promise you that there's a lot of swearing that happens. I try my very best not to swear on camera because YouTube will demonetize the video if I swear too much.
True.
Yeah,
That's
we're
the
not
only
at that
reason.
stage yet.
No, we're a couple of 100,000 views away from monetization.
This motherfucker double protected my fucking explosion.
That's the Andy VGC content I want to see.
Well, you saw
That's the Twitter content.
You saw the Sash King Gambit, right? That was in that video.
Yeah.
That broke me. I could not.
When was that when your Gardevoir Aura Sphere didn't kill the King Gambit?
No,
Oh, that
no.
was
It was
Ursaluna. That
it
was
was the
Ursaluna.
immediate next game.
Yeah.
The immediate next game, I hit it with the Aura Sphere, and it was Sash.
Okay.
Focus Sash King Gambit.
I must admit, I get really salty on Showdown 2 because I just want to test new strats, and I just never get the matchups that would actually let me test it appropriately. However,
Yeah.
this is what all my friends in Perth told me. What's your fault for playing closed team sheet best of one on Showdown? And I must admit, why are you not playing open team sheet with these strats? Are you just hoping that they'll not see the explosion coming because it's closed team sheet?
Well, so here's my thoughts on the whole open team sheet versus closed team sheet. And I'm sure that I talked about it in a video, but the majority of people that are going to watch my content, the only way that they can play competitive Pokemon is the in-game ladder. And the in-game ladder is closed team sheets best of one. So that's kind of what I focus on building teams for, catering my content towards, because that's what the majority of people have access to. It's very expensive to travel to a regional.
Oh yeah.
Even just like the entry fee is a big barrier. $75, $80 is like way too much money just to enter a Pokemon regional.
That's crazy.
That's like
More than us.
that's like 120
But
Aussie.
Yeah.
converting.
We don't get any regionals.
But also, I've done the math, and there's no way that they make the money back on those. So like, I don't.
Yeah.
That's kind of like a problem that can't be fixed.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Pokemon, they've got to
But yeah, basically
spend money to build the community, though. Like, it's a necessary cost for them.
Oh yeah, and like obviously, you know, the Pokemon Company, Game Freak, whoever runs competitive Pokemon, really, they see value in it. They do it. It's like It's not free advertisement, but it's like advertisement, and it's like healthy. This is a group of people who will buy whatever Pokemon game you put out, no matter what, pretty much.
Yeah. Look, speaking of Game Freak / the Pokemon Company and conspiracy theories, what do you think about the Pelipper that they released that doesn't pass hack checks? The Pokemon Gen
the
for
Patrick
us,
Connors giveaway.
the Patrick Connors giveaway that won't get through any hack checks.
I think if I get DQ'd from a tournament for that Pelipper, then I'm gonna have some problems.
Agreed.
Yeah, like you said that's. I didn't realize it was so expensive because it's about $50 Australian.
Yeah, which would be about 30 US.
Yeah, so it's cheap. I mean, we don't get any regionals to register for.
We have two.
I don't know if you pay. I mean, I don't know how much of the Oceania area comes up on your feed, but we're constantly whinging about how they keep taking away our events. So we're down to 2 regionals. They took away Oceanic International Championships.
Rest in peace.
We had that in 2022.
Yeah.
There was rumors we weren't even getting a Perth regional. We've had Perth regionals for like 10 years now, and we've got it in 2 weeks' time. So we're all, in the kitchen right now, like refining our teams. Have you ever been to Australia, Andy?
No. I've only been outside of the United States a little bit. I mean, the United States is pretty big, so
it is.
That it is.
Look, if you're ever down under for a tournament, we will hook you up. You don't have to worry about accommodation.
If the Pokemon Company ever decide to, throw us a bone and revive the scene, because we got some really, really good players. That we just had a pretty good showing at LAISC, considering the few number of players that went over. There were some good finishings. We did really well in the Victory Road World Cup every year. In TCG we're also killing it as well. It'd be really good to get bigger events down here, but we would love to get some international players coming down to Australia, putting, the scene on the map. That's what we're aiming for.
There is a rumor that there's a group of about 30 Japanese players coming to Perth for TCG and an unknown amount for VGC.
Oh yeah,
as well.
because they can qualify for Worlds now. That's that's a weird thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
That's why I'm judging at Perth.
It is a bit scary.
They're gonna roll you guys into the Asian circuit instead.
No,
You're
don't
not
jinx
gonna
that.
get to play with us.
Please don't jinx that.
That's what we think. That's our tinfoil hat thing about Oceania, is that they'll roll us up into the Pokemon Company area of the rest of Asia, and we'll have to go through their system.
I know that
The online qualifiers and stuff.
Yeah.
I know that it's expensive for them to put on like an IC, for example. They don't have to fly Necra and Cybertron over to Australia, right? There are Australian people that could commentate. We'll do it.
I'd do it.
I'll do it for free. There are Australian.
Would you do it without cussing though? Like,
We could. We might have to do a test run.
I reckon I could.
Oh, heck.
There are certain. I don't know if I'd be able to commentate matches in an unbiased manner. I think if I have beef with Cybertron because he keeps stealing my teams.
James Beck's on stream. You're like, this fucking guy.
I started a Twitter campaign, #Wolfie Goes Down Under, because I was trying to get him to come to Perth Regionals. I started this in April this year. When
did you get blocked?
He blocked me in May because I was creating we're doing all these memes of him photoshopped into places in Perth. Being here's Wolfie getting ready for Perth Regionals. I thought it was hilarious. Obviously, he did not.
No. He thought that was a breach of privacy.
Well, I mean, if I have to commentate his matches on a stream in a Oceanic IC, I mean, would I be unbiased? I don't know. There's only one way to find out, though.
Wolfie clicks protect. He blocked me on Twitter.
I think Wolfie having you blocked on Twitter is a healthy storyline for a regional, honestly. I feel like they could really culminate in a player interview.
Yes,
Because they put Twitter posts onto the stream, right? Like,
True.
it's only a matter of time before I meet him in person when I qualify for Worlds one day, obviously. Speaking
Not
of
this
which,
year.
I don't like. We only get 20 places here in Oceania. With only, and so it's basically they have altered the BFLs a little bit to make it a bit better. But basically, as an Australian, you have to have money to be able to travel to an IC to have any chance, because you've got to finish in the top 20. And only people that can afford to travel, and even flying from one side of Australia to another is like $1,000, right? Like, so, it's
$1,000 dues.
It's so yes. So it is so hard for us to qualify. And then when you bomb all the GCs like I do,
You're not getting points from those.
no. So I'm really hoping, obviously getting you on the show, Andy, we're going to get a massive, massive increase in views. Subscribers are going to come rolling in and they're going to fund my trip to EUIC.
We'll get a bump in the registrations for Perth.
Yes.
As well as the bum and registration fee.
Yeah.
Now that they figure out what they can charge.
Yeah.
In our defense, though, Andy, like,
honestly,
yeah.
honestly, have you ever looked at how much it is to go enter a tournament for other competitive games?
I have not.
No.
Actually, no, I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! pretty competitively. It is still in the year of our Lord 2024, $20 to enter a Yu-Gi-Oh! Regional.
That's
and they give you 5 packs of cards.
Damn.
That's
So you're
crazy.
basically just buying 5 packs of cards. It might be 25 and you get 5 packs of cards, but like it's like $25.
Is it
And then
still
you get
Konami?
packs of cards that make up for the entry fee.
Do you have like, do they still do YCSs and all that sort of stuff? Because I used to do them too. But we're talking like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's like just like a regional. It's like $25 to enter a Yu-Gi-Oh! Regional, and they give you packs of cards equal to the amount of money that you paid.
That's wild.
The problem with Yu-Gi-Oh! Though is that it's so much more expensive to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the cards don't rotate, and some of those decks are like $1,000 to build because you need this card from.
I mean, to be honest, a lot of the older cards have been reprinted enough that like it's not the older cards that are gonna like get you. It's the newer cards.
Yeah.
And that's really only a problem for people in non-Japanese speaking territories, because what they do, right, is the Japanese set comes out first, and they print all the good cards as like rares and commons. And then they do really good with those cards, and they go, "Oh man, we're gonna print these as secret rares when we print them worldwide."
Yeah, classic.
Wow.
Classic
we'll move
money.
more product.
Yeah, I don't know. When I played Yu-Gi-Oh, I played cheap decks, and I did qualify for Nats one time, and I couldn't go because I couldn't get the time off of work, and it was in like Pittsburgh.
Capitalism sucks.
Abolish the 9 to
Sometimes,
5.
yeah.
Abolish the 9
Did
to
you?
5.
I can't remember what the North America CP cutoff was last season, but how close did you come to qualifying for Worlds?
600 was it?
Oh, not close at all. I basically only went to like 2 regionals in NAIC.
All right.
And I did not do very good at the Orlando regional. I made my team at like the last second and threw it together, and it was not very good.
That's my strategy for most tournaments is just this will do.
Sounds like Chris's prep, doesn't it?
I am notorious. There's a running joke in Perth, like a last minute team crisis. It's just been named Team Crisis because I always panic the night before. And like, I can't beat this matchup, and then like change the whole team, and then like the next day bring it to the tournament and not fight, like not have to go up against the matchup that I panicked about, and then like the matchups I was actually guaranteed to beat before the ones that I get, and yeah, I'm notorious at it.
Yeah, that was my favorite. You were bringing Dozo to like locals, and everyone had Urshi Dark, so you swapped it to Terra Fairy and had like no matchups at the regionals. Oh.
Yep, story of my life. I still managed to do okay.
Yeah, 65th.
Oh yeah, I bubbled. At Perth Regionals beginning of this year, I bubbled out a top 64. I went 6-3 and finished 65th. And
That was Melbourne, yeah.
Sorry, yeah, Melbourne Regionals. And that was yeah. I wish the Australian regionals got more like it's almost like a attack on like, oh, and by the way, there was a regionals in Australia this weekend won by such and such at the end. There's no stream. There's no like videos on it. Like Cybertron and Wolfglick don't make videos about
Tub takes mention, Kieran.
I mean, the trade-off for not getting a stream and not getting press is that you get to pay half as much to enter the regional as everybody else.
100%.
True.
Knowing how much you pay over there in the States makes me very comfortable with what we're paying at the moment.
But I don't know. Like you saw that Latin America had a special event in, I know I always butcher the pronunciation of this city. Buenos Aires. It was like there were 60 people in the special event at Buenos Aires.
Buenos Aires, yeah.
Yeah. We've already got like 190 masters in VGC in Perth. So it's like we have bigger events.
A special event is not a regional.
But it's still the same amount of CP.
No cash prize though.
Yeah, but like they have a special event in Puerto Rico, like.
we know what the Republicans think of that place.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, it's just hard for everybody to travel to. So like, I think the last Puerto Rican special event, I think there were literally only 60 people there.
That's crazy. We should not forget,
or like
though,
some like ridiculously low number.
That Perth, like 5 years ago, had about 60 people at the regionals. So it's a growth thing, and all these places will have their growth as well, most likely.
Should we talk about LAIC?
I think we should. We have our first 3-time IC champion in VGC.
Yes,
thanks
Marcus
to
Silva.
Yes.
Finally, somebody's the first at something that's not Wolfie Glick.
Are you trying to say that you have beef with Wolf Glick?
Chris.
No, I've actually never met him in person. I've interacted with him online, but I've never met him in person.
So you're not blocked on his Twitter like me?
I am not blocked on his Twitter, no.
Well, I'm glad that Andy, actually, you're the only one of us that actually. Would you guys?
I watched some of it.
You watched some of it?
Yeah.
I watched James Bett get destroyed in round 1 of Swiss by Patrick Connors, friend of the show. Now that we have a bond with Florida, we'll go friend of the show,
friend of the friend of the show,
friend of the show, friend by association. And I thought that's enough for me. I've seen what I wanted to see.
It's peak.
James Bett get 2-0'd. Peak stream.
I didn't stay up to watch Takumi, but our junior from Perth made into the finals. It was like 3 a.m. our time, but it was good. He unfortunately came second.
Again. Third time.
Yeah,
third time coming runner up in a
That was like I'm trying to remember because I like watched it, but I was like doing stuff. The junior they were like playing. It wasn't the same team, but it was the same kind of like tail room kind of deal, right?
Yeah, I think Takumi had balance and Ismail had like a P2 Ursa, yeah. So he had like a trick room core.
A Goldengo on it. No, Takumi
not a
Takumi had balance. Yeah. No Sneasler.
He did have Sneasler. He just didn't bring it.
No Sneaslers in any of the finals, right?
Yeah. Well,
that's crazy.
Before we always do like I know this is a bit basic, but we do the top 12 usage, right? So day 1, this is Masters, by the way, first playing at home. Sneasler, 44.8% was number 1 in usage in day 1. Then it was Rillaboom, Goldengo, Dragonite, Incineroar, all in the 30s. King Gambit at 29. Caladon, Amoonguss, Pelipper, Ursaluna, regular form. Electabuzz and his Basculesian. I shouldn't need to specify that it was male, but I will. And day 2, Sneasler still at number 1 at 49.2. Then Incineroar, Goldengo, Rillaboom, Dragonite. Caladon jumped up into top 6. King Gambit fell down to 10th. It was Pelipper, Blood Moon, Ursaluna. So Blood Moon wasn't in top 12 in day 1. It jumped up to 8th in day 2. Amoonguss still hovering about the same spot. Then, King Gambit, Annihilate jumped up, and then Basculesian male. Joel and Dan and Andy, has anyone got any surprises in those usage stats?
The Sneasler's not as big a jump as it has had previously.
It's been in the 50s before.
Yeah, well, we've seen it also jump like 12, 13% between day 1 and day 2. That jump was, 5%? Between day 1 and day 2?
44 to 49, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably its smallest jump since it took the pedestal of being the number 1 mon in Reg H.
I think people are just tired of Sneasler.
Sneasler fatigue.
Amen.
Yeah. It's like 205 people brought Sneasler across the entire tournament. That's nuts. With what, 455 teams? Like, crazy. I like that Indeedee Mail is rapidly rising up. I think, what, 43 people? So just under 10% brought it?
I mean, it's kind of like, Rillaboom for Psychic Terrain, right? Like, you just kind of come in and click Expanding Force. It's kind of easy.
Exactly. And you don't want to be playing long-ass games for like 11 rounds of Switch.
No, God, no.
Well, speaking of long-ass games, I would like to give a shout-out to Kylan Van Severin, a Canadian who came 10th for being the highest-placed Don Dozo Tatsugiri user. I always respect people who have the balls to bring that still to a big event and do well with it, being a Dozo player myself.
There must not have been that much haze. From what I've seen of the usage, there's not as many haze users.
Well, the
as there
Dragon
has
Eye
been.
all had haze.
Ah, that's where it is now.
Scale shot haze. Some had extreme speed, some didn't. Some of them just like mono dragon attacking, and that scares me. Imagine if you just came up against a fairy like 1v1 at the end of the battle.
Or you've
that
got
would
a
happen to
scale
me.
shot.
That would happen to me for sure.
It would.
Andy, we did some predictions on our last episode for, we had like what we thought we'd see like rollover from Gedungst, and also like wild card picks. And we also picked like what we'd redirected would do the best as well. We actually got some fair amount right and a lot wrong. I suppose if you're throwing off shit at the wall, something will stick.
Yes.
A broken clock is right twice.
I'll give a shout out to Dan because he picked Electabuzz as his preferred redirector.
There was a lot of Electabuzz.
There was a lot.
Shitload. And oh my God. Like I didn't think I picked one, but like panelist Ethan was advocating for Magma. Mark said Vivian. There was a Vivian though in Top Cut. But there was so
Vivian's a
much-
redirector, but really it just clicks Sleep Powder.
yeah. So much Electabuzz though. Crazy amounts. Like I can't see any Magma at all in like the top 16 teams. So that is definitely the go-to redirector. So Marco, we actually kind of rubbished Charizard. So after who got runner-up with Charizard?
It was Marco.
It was Marco?
Yeah.
Okay, and we always said, no, Charizard's a meme. Like it wouldn't top cut again this regulation. It would take like an extremely skilled player to make it work again. And then he bloody goes and wins the tournament with it. So we all look like idiots.
I did appreciate a lot of the casters were talking about.
Charizard's scary. Y'all, do you guys not know how scary it is to fight Charizard in the sun?
Oh, it's so scary.
But true. I haven't seen much of it in our Perth meta. We have a lot of sun in like Trick Room teams, and we have a lot
usually Torkoal.
and we have rain, and a lot of Ninetales lately as well. But
here's my 2 cents about Sun as somebody who's been struggling against Torkoal teams with their hard Trick Room team. Sun, okay, most people will run Sunny Day to counter rain teams because you can just throw Sunny Day on your Whimsicott. Nobody is running Rain Dance to counter Sun teams.
That's true.
not any. Well, maybe they will now. Thank you for the idea, Andy. I might take that one.
It's gonna have rain.
Well, and even the jump up on this team has sunny days. So
yeah, exactly.
Like it is. Like I must admit, it is a scary team. I mean, 3 fire types. You're like, what is this team building? But it does work.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I did appreciate because it is a Japanese team, and the casters were acknowledging throughout the weekend that like the Japanese team builders have influenced a lot of the meta. And Marcos said like on Twitter and stuff, yeah, this is like it came from Japan, so it works.
I feel like in Reg H, more than maybe any regulation before, we've seen the Japanese teams very quickly
Adapted,
to like the Western inverted commas meta.
Yeah.
And then
Because what Assault vs Blood Moon kind of started over there as well, I think.
Yeah,
And
I think we saw that. It was topped.
Yeah,
like
well,
season
Nails
21 or 22.
Yeah.
runner-up, I don't know this flag. I'm really sorry. Victor Medina. Geography was my best high school subject. Don't remember.
Spanish.
Spanish. That's a
I
Spanish
believe
flag?
it's Italy, if I remember from the stream. Oh no, it's the other one. It's Spain.
Not Italy. Okay, good. So Victor Medina from not Italy.
Italy is Marco's flag.
Yeah, Marco's Italian.
It's Spain.
Spain.
Because the joke is he's
Espandelis.
No, Espen Potter.
Okay. So, yes, right. Yeah.
Sorry, Espanol Radcliffe.
Apparently someone writes him looks like Daniel Radcliffe. Espanol Radcliffe. Yeah,
that's right.
Anyway, so I've been to Spain. That's embarrassing.
All right. Flex.
You're not sort of flex.
Weird flex, but okay.
You know, I'm half Italian. That means I kind of half won this regional.
All right. Okay, Dad. You half won the regional. You get 250 CP and $7,500.
Yeah, Mike's not on. Fuck you, Mark.
So, speaking of Mark, so we have another one of our panelists, Mark, in the room. We talked about redirectors, and he brought up Sinister being kind of decent. Like, it was kind of good at some things, but not great at anything. And it kind of like wanted to do everything, but didn't do anything that well, et cetera, et cetera. And that, it's people cook with it, but never goes anywhere. Well, Victor came second with Sinister. Trick Room, right, with like the Rage Powder, Life Dew, Matcha Gotcha with the regular Ursaluna. So we were wrong there as well.
No, it sounds like I didn't do well enough.
There's actually 5 other ones in top 64.
It's crazy. Yeah. It looked like a few of them ran like the identical teams with Sinister. Like it looked like there was just like copy pasted.
Oh, well, they're all about like the team building in Europe. They have like, don't forget, like Luca was one of like 6 or 7 people from the same team building group to run the exact same team at Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't that the EU versus NA debate? Is EU can't build, NA can't play? That's like their beef together.
And we just don't get to play. No. That's our area.
We're that meme where the skeleton underwater.
Can't play, but in a different sense.
Yeah, can't play in a different sense, exactly. So yeah, that was 2 things we did get a bit wrong. We got the Electabuzz right. We all got to pick one wild card pick. So Ethan, that's not here, he said Grimmsnarl. There was 0 Grimmsnarl.
Sorry, Ethan.
I said Klefki. There was 0 Klefki.
Huge.
Andy, I think you'd be someone who appreciates the Klefki. I was like, look, you got Prankster Misty Terrain, you got Prankster Magic Room to turn off Sneasel Focus Sash. Screens was picking up. Like I thought.
Here's
the
one thing that Klefki does that no other Pokemon does. It has Prankster Sandstorm.
Okay. Cooking.
What? I did not even know that.
Cooking. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So,
The only 2 Pokemon that have Prankster Sandstorm are Tornadus and Klefki.
Okay.
That's
I'll note
crazy.
Being a T-Tar lover, I will note that. Getting so many team ideas tonight.
Klefki next to T-Tar, just to make sure.
No, you'd have like I'm actually cooking with Houndstone at the moment. But
Excadrill's back on the menu, boys.
Yeah, you have your Sandrush Pokemon.
Yeah. So I got it wrong as well because I thought it's really good against Dragapult. I was expecting a lot of Dragapult in LAIC. There wasn't. So I will give it kudos to Dan. You said your wildcard pick was Assault Vest, Blood Moon, Ursaluna with Vacuum Wave. That finished 9th.
Huge.
And there was a few with Kenneth Gamboa from another flag I don't know. And
that's Mexico.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that the eagle with the the cactus?
Yeah.
God, I'm so bad at this.
It's right there in the middle.
Can we redact all the things of me getting it wrong?
Absolutely.
Can we just
not.
put in that quote? I'm actually quite good at geography. Each time he gets the flag wrong.
It's been a while since high school, all right? I'm getting old. I'm an 80s kid, remember? So Blood Moon, and there was a lot of other Assault Vest Blood Moons in like top 32, by the way, Dan. So well done. You get a gold star.
Thank you.
Mark, you'll be happy because there was a Disquake, Kilowattrel, Goldengo, Garchomp, et cetera, at 12th place. Len from America, I know the American flag. Len Duell from America came 12th with Kilowattrel, Garchomp.
Classic Len team.
What was Mark's spicy pick? Oh, yes, Komodo. And we have to give him kudos for this because you specifically said Clanging Scales, Clanger Soul, Komodo, not Iron Defense Body Press. He said that was your wild card pick. It got 3rd.
Fucking Ashton Cox, the mad lad, brought it.
So, I mean, I don't want to say that.
Regidrago at home.
Actually.
You must be counting down to Reg G 2.0 then for your Regidrago love.
The first thing that I'm gonna try in Reg G, it's not gonna work. It's gonna be really stupid. But I'm gonna play Boneless Zamazenta with Electric Seed. To immediately go +2 defense, body press.
Boneless Samazenta. That's amazing. So without the
Yeah, but
shield,
why is it going +2?
because of the
Oh, with the
electric seed.
Because it still has the ability.
Oh my god, you've solved it. You've solved the meta again.
+2 body press.
I mean, really,
turn
it's
one.
not going to work until we have dual restricteds, but
Yeah, which we think is going to be World's format next year, right? So we're going to go
Yeah.
Reg G again,
We have Reg G from January to
definitely,
April, and
definitely.
then we'll have we'll have Reg I. Have I done the alphabet right?
Reg I, yep,
Reg I should
Yes.
be dual.
yeah,
It should be GC2,
and then it'll be
and then we'll
is
see
it
what
Anaheim
happens.
or the other American trash hole in LA.
I think it's Anaheim this
Anaheim.
year.
It'll
Yeah.
be me versus Wolf Glick on stream at Anaheim
trash.
next
That's
year.
where Disney World. That's where Disneyland is.
It is. Well, that's true. I'm more of a Universal Studios man.
Well, I mean, it's in Hollywood. It's right there.
Yeah, I do like that. That's the one. That Disneyland is the one with the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge land, like the Star Wars.
There's actually Star Wars Galaxy Edge everywhere now.
Oh,
It opened in Disney World first, I think,
Yeah, I was meant to go there,
which is where I live.
in 2022. I had booked to go there, and broke my leg in Canada playing rugby, and had to be like flown home for like have surgery and stuff like that, and had to cancel my whole trip. So I've never been to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but Worlds next year, I'm coming. I'm going Electric Seeds Amazenta. Double restricted.
Sounds like you're sleeping on Pinkerton.
I just wish they gave the terrain a bit like imagine something like, okay, we've mentioned this on the show before, but like there's a Pokemon that needs some love, but imagine something like Lantern, just if they just gave it something like Electric
Zeb
Surge.
Striker, like everyone wanted.
Just like
I mean, they
any-
still could.
but they just
But
They
they won't.
they do little. Okay, so you got like for example, Shiftry got Wind Rider, right? Or there was some other Pokemon got like a niche move or here or there, or like a slight tweak, but they just don't do enough. It's like they just do the absolute bare minimum, like just to make us think that they're still trying. But like for example, my biggest gripe is,
I mean,
yep.
I was just say, let's be honest. A new ability is not enough to save some Pokemon.
No.
No, that's true. I really wanted them to fix Illuminate because abilities don't have anything effects outside battle anymore, right? So Illuminate, all it did was increase a counter rate in the grass. So I was like, Illuminate, maybe it can drop the accuracy, or maybe it can make it the moves don't miss, like a no guard thing because it lights up the field or whatever. Or like maybe it's like a spotlight where they all attacks go to the Illuminate Pokemon or something cool. And like, no, actually, it's just Keen Eye. And it's like, because they could have made like.
They could have done something different.
Yeah, like there's a Pokemon that desperately need it. Like because Lantern has it. Starmie, Pokemon like this just need some love, in my opinion. Anyway,
we were talking about items or like new things you would implement to like balance some things. If you could make a new item, what would it be?
I posted an answer to this in the group chat and got laughed out of the room. I said Lucky Scale, and it was like an item I could give my Dondozo to stop it getting critical hits. To get like a shell armor item.
Shell armor.
I think
you,
shell
Urshifu.
armor as an item sounds great. I mean, actually, shell armor as an item doesn't sound that bad, only because Urshifu exists, and if it's allowed to crit all the time, then why not, right?
So officially endorsed. There you go. By AndyLaVGC. It's been endorsed.
My item is I don't know what you would call it, but it's basically an item that changes your ability to the ability of your pre-evolution.
Ooh.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it's a hold
I see.
item.
Like a Prevolite.
What would you call that? I need to think of a cool name.
Oh, you could have, I don't know if it would be any good, but you could have Prankster Lucario then, couldn't you? That's,
With coaching.
Yeah, with coaching.
yeah.
What would you have? Like,
And it's basically just goes to like whatever the ability is in the same slot. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
The rewinder is what we've been pitched.
no, like something like some sort of like memory flashback thing. Like,
Rewind time.
Polaroid.
yeah, Polaroid camera. or something.
Flashback drive.
Yeah.
Flash drive.
Yeah, flash drive. Floppy disk.
Flashback drive.
Flashback drive. Yeah, we'll work on the name. We'll get back to you on that. But yeah, does anyone else have any items?
Oh, I've thought of this, right? It might be like Haggard, but Tren. So a Mon gets steroids, right?
Okay. Like the Berserk gene from Gen 1?
All physical stat changes are doubled, So like attack and defense, if you get like, I don't know, a Moxie or it wouldn't be, if you get like a Moxie, it's doubled to like +2 instead of +1.
Like a
And
simple.
then, yeah, kind of like simple, but only for physical buffs. And you take like Life Orb chip each turn after your first boost.
Okay.
That's my pitch.
Probably couldn't call it trend,
That's
but
too
that's
good.
an interesting
I don't like
idea.
that.
What? Bigger physically, and then you lose health quicker. Yeah, it's perfect for trend.
It is.
So something like Dragapult with clear body, so they couldn't intimidate it. So you just stack every turn it goes up again, or like
It's a one-time boost.
okay. So if you do Dragon Dance, you get a +2 attack boost.
Yeah.
and then you take life or damage every
Yeah,
turn.
kind of like solar power.
It'd be cool if
That's
it
my
weakened
pitch.
you specially as well
Okay.
to balance it out.
Okay. You don't think solar power chip is enough?
No. Well, instead of
I think it'd be
chipping,
cool-
weakening specially
Yeah. Okay.
would be cool.
Mm.
No, tear it apart, Andy.
Yeah,
I know you
I
want to
want
say
more
something.
consumable items that don't have like weird activations.
True.
Is this for unburden memes?
I mean, yeah, but for other things,
Yeah, I can't think of another.
like I don't know. Sometimes I don't want to run a seed.
Yeah, because then,
Yeah.
then you have to like run a terrain Pokemon, and it's like very limiting. And there's only like 2 good terrain Pokemon.
In this, in age.
Sleeping
Well,
on Pincurchin again.
It's not good. Stop bringing Pincurchin up. They just need to bring the Tapus back, the cowards. But and the Ultra Beasts. That's what I'm disappointed that when you did your video of like 10 Pokemon you missed from this gen, you did touch on the Ultra Beasts and you went like through like 3 of them and then just like didn't get to the cool ones. I was like, where's the Guzzlord love?
Well, I mean, probably the one I missed the most is Blacephalon. I just forgot to talk about it, so I put it as the footage in the background.
Nice.
It is a great Pokemon. We have some big Blacephalon fans in the room actually.
I hated when we figured out that the stars on the side of its head are its
For its
eyes.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no. That just made it creepy.
It was always a creepy clown to begin with, but it's really grown on me as a design.
I can't stand Tapu Fini. Do not bring it back. Leave it in the bin.
I mean,
Why don't you like Tapu Fini? What did Tapu Fini do to you?
Everything, man.
Like I read,
PTSD.
I
Flash.
think they
read
should bring
nothing but
Tapu Fini
Dragon
back
Fire.
and give it swagger again.
No.
Hey there, listeners. Thank you very much for tuning in to part 1 of our discussion with AndyLaVGC. We've thoroughly enjoyed chatting with him. It's been great chats, great entertainment, and we've loved his take on things. So don't forget to tune in to part 2 of our discussion coming very soon with AndyLaVGC. Until next time.